Okay, so in week 14, you're going to create a website on Google Sites, and I called this Fakebook as kind of a joke, but, it's kind of going off the idea of, posting information about yourself, and in this case, you're going to choose a character, right? So it's not really the person, but you're creating some information about them. So in this case, you can select a person, a character, dead or alive, a person or somebody that you want to, that you follow, that you're interested in. Not a real person, okay? Not somebody in your life. Do this as kind of somebody well-known or fictitious or something like that. Okay, so what you're going to do, and I'll walk you through how to do this, is create 4 pages of information. And really, including the first page, I actually need to make this 5 because the first page is always called the home page or the index page. And then you'll write, you only have to write the introduction on the main page of 150 words, and the rest of it you can cut and paste like we did in the Word project, but again, you have to give me links to where you got it. And then I'll have you include an image on each page, and at least one page with a video link about your selected character. And then you'll publish it and provide a link in the hands-on discussion like we've done before and talk about your experience, okay? So let's get started. So to create this, you're going to have a Google account. Now, I already have my account set up. So what this means is you have to get a Gmail account, okay? So here's the deal. You don't have to start using Gmail, but having a Gmail account is a good idea. And I've surveyed the students before. Many of them already have it. So it's just good to have it for all the other reasons that Google provides in addition to this. So I just think it's a good way to kind of start wrapping up some of the concepts of our classes. Getting a Gmail account is a really good idea. So if you don't have one, now's the time. So you have to have it for this. So once you log in, right? So in other words, this is my Gmail account. Right? So once you log in, you create your account, then what you can do is simply, and there's links various places, but I'll just show you the easiest way to get to it is just type sites.google.com. And that will take you to the main page where you start creating your site, okay? So in this case, you'll go and just create site. Now, the first step in this is figuring out if you're going to use a template or if you're going to use a blank template. My suggestion, based on having done this a couple of times, is for you guys just beginning out, if you've never done this kind of thing before, use a blank template because it just kind of goes easier. But if you want to venture out and use one of the templates, try that as well, okay? So the first thing you have to do after you choose a template is you have to name your site. So in this case, let's say I was going to do a site about George Washington, right? And so that might be the name of the site, but down here, how it's what we call the URL, the location of it, has to be unique. This name doesn't, but this name does, right? So in this case, if I was to go ahead and try to create this, it'd probably telling me it's already taken, right? So what I might do, and how I'll see that is I'll come down here and I'll say, I actually have to put in the code, right? Make sure I type it exactly. And if I hit the create, then it's going to tell me, and of course, like I said, this is not a surprise that was already taken. So I could name this whatever I wanted to. It's good to keep it close to the concept of, what you're creating it, but could also put my initials, right? And then George, right? Something like that. Let's see if that is taken. And then we create it again. And what it does is it checks it. Wow, that one's not either. Okay. Okay, so let's try CIT12 plus that. I bet that one's not taken. Okay, so once that's created, then it takes you to the main page, and you can see up here that's the URL that you'll end up sharing later, but we won't do that yet. And it gives you basically the structure of the site, the name, right? And then here's what's called your home page. And then here's another site map. But what you'll do is first, write your content here. So we'll just show you how to edit a page. So now in this one, whatever you name this is what your link will be here, right? So you would write here, let me just, because I'm not going to write 150 words, but you would write 150 words of why you're creating this site. Okay, and then remember, and after you write it, you can hit save, or it actually will save along the way as well. And then I would come back into edit. So it's always important, especially if you're on a flaky connection, to save as you go. So the other thing you can do here is, because I want images, right? So let me show you how to place images on each page. So one thing I just use, because it's just really easy, is I go to images.google.com, and then I type George Washington. Okay, and then I look for images. Now, there's a couple things I want to give you a hint for when you look for images, right? So there's various different ways you can do this, but you can, like, let's say I click on this one and I look at 200 by 263. Well, that's a pretty good size for the page, and let me show you what I mean. If I come in here and I click on it, and then it shows me the actual size, and this is from Wikipedia, so that looks like a good source. I could right-click and say Copy Image URL. I'm using Chrome, but any browser will generally give you that same option. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Now, there's two ways I could place this in. I could either place it underneath here, or I could change my layout and do a 2-column or a 3-column and do various things. So if I wanted to do 2-column, that way my content would be here and my image would be here. That's kind of nice. You can choose how you want to do that. I'm going to insert image. And in this case, I'm not going to upload it, although you could absolutely do that. You could also just do web address and then paste that address. Cool. And then alt text is always good, is to put what it is. And really that's for when people have screen readers, they can actually know what these images are, even if they can't see them. I'll click OK. So that actually, you can see how that fits in the page. So if you get anything larger than that, just know that it may not fit in your page well, and you want something that looks nice on the page. So I'm just going to save again. So that's my first page is getting there. So now I'm going to add another page. So I'm going to hit plus up here at the top, and now I'm going to say, right, his life. Okay, now in this case, I'm going to use the defaults. I'm going to put it at the top level, and I'll show you what it means to put it underneath home, although I'm not going to have you do that in this case. But let me just go ahead and create. So you can see it placed it underneath home. Now, if I wanted another link underneath here, I would have put it underneath, but I'm not going to require that for your work. Okay, so in this case, I could actually just go, because now I want some content. This is where I'm going to allow you to, I mean, some might say it's cheat, I don't, is to actually, and now I'm going to actually use Wikipedia, okay? And I don't need a lot of content. I don't want a lot of content. I just want a few paragraphs maybe, so I would choose these. Now, this is where I want you to strip out all these links in here, okay, just like we did in the Word project. So I'm going to paste it in there, and then I'm going to select Control A. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to paste it in here. This looks pretty good. The other thing I want you to do is give me a link to where you got it from, because that's really the way we need to reference things to make sure we've clearly said that, you know, I didn't write this. That's where I got it from. Cool. So that's not too hard, you know, and then you hit save. Now, you also want to include another photo here as well. So I'm not going to do that here since I've already shown you. Now, the next thing I want you to have is some kind of video. So I could either put it, let's do another page, because that actually might be good, right? I could call it that. I could give it something a little more creative. And I'm going to go ahead and create. Now, this is where on the video page, I could go to YouTube. I could type George Washington and see if I could find something about George Washington that I think would be kind of interesting. Okay, here, let's look at this, see if that's kind of an interesting video to put on my page. And so I would watch the video. It's taking a little bit to load, so I'm going to hold on watching it. But in general, once you find a video, here's what you do. You share it. Now, sharing it's kind of an interesting thing, because there's many ways to share it, but I'm going to show you the way I want you to do it, and it's called embed. Okay, see this code right here? Go ahead and copy it. Copy that code, and then come back over to your new page, and in this case, there's an HTML link here. Okay, so you can write your content first, right, or whatever you want to say about it. You put in your video link, and then what you do here is after the div, place your cursor right there and then paste it. Now what I'm pasting is the code to put in the YouTube. I'm going to hit update. Okay. And now I'm going to hit save. And what you will see here is then it brings in that video right into your web page, which is a really nice way to do it. Instead of just providing a link, it actually allows you to have your page, you know, look like YouTube in a way. So you will create, so 1, 2, 3, so I have 2 more pages to create here. And then again, referencing where you got the information, make sure there's, now on the video page, you don't have to include the image, but you have to include it on all the other pages, okay? So let me go back and look at my requirements real quick. So you have to write your own introduction, include a image on one page with a video. I talked about that. Okay, so actually at this point, we're actually ready to go share it, okay? So now you can actually preview it if you want, what it's going to look like on the web. You could actually preview it various ways, but let's just go ahead and share it. Let's share it. Now in this case, just like in Outlook, there's many ways we can share. In this case, you can say anyone can view it, but I'm actually going to change that. You don't have to. I'm going to say just people with a link. Okay, just like we did in Outlook, and the reason is that it doesn't put it out to the general web population, just people with a link, which would really limit it to just people with in our class, in a sense. Now, if you were very proud of this and you wanted to share it, cool, go ahead and share it with the public. I don't really care which way you do it. Okay, so it has to be one of these though for me to see it. So I'll hit save here, and now I get the link. So here is the link that you would put up into Blackboard. Okay, so copy that. All right. Now in Blackboard, let me show you this, because the other thing is I want you guys to select different characters. So the first thing you might do is actually just reply like we did in the Word one and say which character you're going to do, okay? Just because I don't want to see multiple, you know, popular characters done. I want to have every one of you do a unique one, right? And then actually do this, put the name so people can just look very quickly and see who it is that you're doing, right? And then what you can do here is you can go ahead and submit and then come back later and put in your link. Like, so then you'd submit to make sure everybody sees what character you're doing. And then you would say my site, or you could just put some other content here. I don't care. Heading 2. And then this is where, you guys have all done this before, no big deal. You would create the link, okay? Cool. Now you do want to make sure that link works. So what I'm going to do just to make sure that link works, just like I showed you in Outlook.com, is I'm going to bring up another browser. And in this case, I'm going to use Firefox. Doesn't matter which one, because I want to have another browser that I haven't logged into Outlook in order to test my link, okay? And when I hit enter, if I've done it right, then it should work just fine to take me to the site that I've built. Cool. All right, guys. I hope you have fun with this. I'll talk to you later.